the longest running debate we ever had at our tech support company.
Here we go.
Was in Star Wars, you're in the hallway, you're Han Solo, you're fighting the stormtroopers, you're firing down the hallway. Would you see the laser bolts? Would you see those red laser bolts flying down the hallway? And I always said, absolutely not. You're not going to see a beam of light, even 3 feet in length. You're not going to see that thing. It'd be moving so fast, you would just see a pop and then the explosion of whatever it hit.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see it because if it's moving, if it's moving at the speed of light away from you, light can't move fast enough to come back to you.
Right.
Do blasters move at the speed of light?
That would be the question.
I wouldn't think they do. I mean, you can see a laser beam when it's projected.
That's because it's continuous.
Like in Goldfinger.
That's because it's continuous.
And that's also because these are movies.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Is there a maybe?
I'm ready to go toe to toe with anybody on this.
I doubt that there's a scientist that listens to this.
And entertainment
just
don't go together.
Is,
when will we learn?
You normally can't see lasers anyway. They have to use fog or some type of particulate in a room where they're using a laser so you can see it.
What about laser pointers?
You can't see bullets, guys. How are you gonna? You can't see if someone fires a shotgun. You don't see the pellets. You don't see that. How are you going to see a laser bolt? You're not going to see it.
I don't think anyone's arguing with you.
Yeah, I had this argument for 7 goddamn years.
I think you're having the argument with yourself.
Yeah, we're on your side, dude. We're all friends here. Don't worry.
Demons.
No. You're on the slippery slope of. Do they move at the speed of light? It doesn't fucking matter.
I already said that you can't see them.
You're trying to qualify it.
Unless every conflict occurred in like a disco.
Hey. How big is a laser bolt? About as big as your forearm, lengthwise?
Sure.
Hey, wait a minute.
How fast would something that size have to travel before you don't see it anymore?
Wait a minute. I was in the Army, and we had these things called tracer rounds.
Oh, right.
And you could see tracer rounds.
Every 7th,
I fired them.
That's right.
Out of an M16, like every 10th or 15th bullet is a tracer round. You can totally see that thing.
How do you explain that? They're made on purpose so you can see them, so you know where you're shooting.
Yeah, and they go fast.
That's right.
Just as fast as the normal bullets.
Don't go speed of light though.
Because they're leaving a trail of light.
So why wouldn't we don't know laser blast technology?
Maybe there are tracer blaster shots.
Yeah, maybe there are. If we could do that with a bullet, why can't we do it with a laser beam?
Let me ask you this: when you see a tracer round, is it a streak or is it a dot the size of a bullet?
It's
moving fast.
It's a streak,
right? Because it leaves behind a trail of chemicals that are on fire.
So why wouldn't the laser blaster do that?
They don't do that because they don't do that. They're just a bolt
because it's a light wave.
Maybe they're not a bolt.
You assume
maybe
that
they're
it
just
is.
pellets, and then all you see is the resulting.
Yeah, Joel
bolt.
has a point.
Like the tracer rounds.
You know, talking about tracer rounds, that reminds me of that time we went to that 24-hour paintball game. And that we were crawling around in the dark in the middle of the night.
There's no way out of this during a conversation.
And that dude had tracer paintball pellets in his hopper.
Yep.
And every few shots he'd fire off, you could see where he was shooting.
We're getting so fucking far away from having sex with girls right now. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Further. We're just ascending. Pretty soon we'll be playing Magic the Gathering and fighting over
LARPing.
Yeah, fighting over.
Oh man. Speaking
who
of
the
LARPing,
best Green Lantern was.
Last night I went over to. I drove by my new house. Jeff and I are neighbors now. By the way,
dude, every Tuesday night you saw it.
Yeah. I went to the Best Buy up by the house because I had to pick something up, and I drove over to my new house, and I drove by a park, and there were a bunch of people in the park, and a bunch of cars parked around. I was like, "What the fuck's going on?" And there were some people playing tennis in the tennis court. I was like, "Well, that's pretty normal." And then the next tennis court, there were 2 knights fighting with each other with swords. I was like,
Dude.
"What the fuck?" They were like dudes out there in chainmail and full armor, like having combat, and like there were a circle of other people in like knight outfits and like Renaissance fair get up, and they were like getting ready to fight. I guess it was like some kind of tournament.
No, it happens every Tuesday night. The LARPers come to the tennis court at Patterson Park. Yeah, I see them all the time when I'm coming back from that same Best Buy.
Oh my god! I mean,
they fight on a tennis court.
Why would they fight
next to people playing tennis?
There's a park like right there. They could go out in the woods and it'd be that much more authentic. But no,
they fight on the tennis
They
court?
fight on the tennis court.
That is bizarre. Did they fight with real swords or padded swords?
When I couldn't see. I was driving by. They looked like real swords from a distance, but I'm sure it must have just been like padded sword painted silver or something.
Yeah, so welcome to the neighborhood, Gus.
And if I remember next Tuesday, I'll try to get down and take a few pictures.
Man, it seems like when they would fight with swords, I'm going back now historically, when they would fight with swords, it seemed like they would get hit with a sword. It wouldn't like cut anything off. Like it would just be a really bad hit to take, you know? Like, it seems like 95% of the blows would be glancing blows and, like, be taking a chunk out of your arm or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Then we show the dude get, cleanly stabbed or hack off an arm. don't think it worked that way.
No, you have a section of your flesh hacked off at a time.
Yeah, or you get a big dent in your skull or something like that.
Oops, there goes your bicep.
What would you have used if you were back in those days? What weapon would you have used?
My feet to run the fuck away from a fight.
Yeah. Guns and weapons don't go together.
I would have used a laser gun.
Tracer rounds.
Tracer rounds, right, with the tracer bolts, so I could see where I'm firing.
Tracer swords.
Man, I'd have just resigned myself to a life of misery, because there's no way in hell I'd ever go out.
The laser guns in Star Wars
someone.
did not use tracer bolts because the pistols don't have tracer rounds, and you could see the laser bolts in the pistols as well.
Well, wait,
How do you know?
How do you know that?
This is the fucking. Well, this is the distant past, but the distant past. But you don't know what they were using, what they had going on. I mean, it makes sense that you would want to create a visible beam so that you can see where you're firing.
I think we successfully
like fucking laser
The
tag.
basic discussion here.
This discussion right here is why there's midichlorians. This is exactly what I'm talking
about. The basic discussion is: would you see a laser bolt? You can always come up with something to say, like, they invented something so you could see it. Like, they came up with something that's not the laser bolt that you could see to indicate where the laser bolt went. The question is, would you see a laser bolt? Would you see a 1.5 foot length of light moving at the speed of light down a hallway? And the answer is, no, you wouldn't.
Well, Geoff just said something very interesting. I don't know what he was going to say, but all I heard was, it's like laser tag. You don't see the fucking lasers in laser tag.
You don't.
You don't? Sure you do.
No, you don't.
You see them
I mean, if there's smoke and stuff, you get
if
the straight, right.
Even with smoke, it's not the same thing.
All I'm saying is the technology we have in 2009 and the technology they had on the fucking Death Star are vastly different. We can't make planets either right now, but they can. So I think if they can make a fucking planet that's a weapon, it wouldn't be hard.
I'm
for them to
not
make
talking about inventing something. I'm talking about the basic physics of seeing something 1.5 feet moving at the speed of light.
How was it that we were all on the same page? We were all agreeing about this argument, and now
we're just arguing.
This is the slippery slope of laser blast physics.
You know, we had gotten away from...
This is what happened to Lucas.
I was so proud of us for getting away from WoW in these podcasts, and now it's been replaced by Twitter and fucking retarded Star Wars.
You mentioned laser tag, dude! You took us to the fucking bottom now. What else do you want to talk about?
We kept trying to get away from it. You're the one that brought the goddamn conversation up, even though you knew it was a fucking horrible idea.
Fuck, you brought up laser tag. Why don't you tell us what your favorite D&D dice is? What do you like? You like the 10-sided or you like the 12-sided?
It's got to be the D12. The D12 is the best dice.
Stop it. I can't take it. What? I mean, I can't think of anything nerdier to talk about. I'm sitting here racking my brain trying to think of...
Stop trying!
I think
some other dumb, nerdy thing to talk about.
Star Trek has to be nerdier than Star Wars, right?
No, Star Trek's
the original Star Trek.
The new Star Trek, by the way, has beaten every other Star Trek movie ever made.
Wow.
It is now the highest-grossing Star Trek movie in history.
Well,
wow.
Kudos to them.
Maybe because the dollar's worth about half of what it used to be. Maybe that played in somehow.
Foreign
It's also a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's great. That guy's dreamy.
I thought it was just okay, I don't know. I mean,
really?
I didn't think it was. No, I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was the best Star Trek. I'm not sure what the best Star Trek movie would be, but I don't think it was the best one. But so I don't know. I know.
Well, that's a very non-committal answer, Joel.
I know.
Something where Kirk and Spock got emotional with each other, I think would be a good one. That didn't happen.
I think the one where
too many fucking times.
Where they're looking for God. Do you remember that one?
Oh my god, it's Final Frontier.
And they
Final Frontier.
all acknowledged their oldness. That to me, I thought was the best one because it was funnier.
We're doing it. We were making fun of it 2 seconds ago, and now we're doing it.
Hey, we're not arguing the physics of
There's
Star
no
Trek.
self-control.
That's worse. Now, if we got into a conversation of who would win, Star Destroyers versus, like, Enterprises,
don't even say
that would be the worst.
Don't even
if
say
we got into that debate, like, what...
No, I see you thinking about it. Don't do it.
Okay.
It's an interesting question.
And really, the question is, what is hyperspace and what is, like, right?
Light
speed. What's the difference?
I can't take it.
We should Twitter about this.
How much money do you think they've made on Transformers over the years? Because this is like they're back now and they're selling the toys again. This is something that started as a toy, right? Transformers were a toy first.
It's like back then the model, even like Mutant Ninja Turtles, the model was, let's make a toy first. Okay, how can we sell the toy? We make a TV show.
Well, I think with Ninja Turtles, it was a comic.
It was a comic book first.
Oh, was it a comic book first?
It was an adult comic.
But G.I. Joe and Transformers were toys first.
Well, just that period, like He-Man and all that stuff. It was all selling toys. And it was like the best way to sell a toy is make a cartoon about it. It was,
It's a 30-minute commercial.
Right.
It's a Star Wars model. I'm actually surprised they never made a cartoon about a candy. That would have been huge.
I heard a long time ago, they said, remember those He-Man cartoons?
Duh.
Guess how much the budget was for one of those cartoons?
Like $40.
I don't know, what was it?
and this is a statistic I heard a long time ago, late 80s. They said it was $1 million per episode.
I find that impossible.
I don't know.
Though it didn't make it into the production, that's for sure.
We're on Masters of the Universe now. For God's sakes! I mean, next is Smurfs and Munchie Cheeks. I mean,
Who?
Masters of the Universe is pop culture. It's not. It hasn't come back around.
I know. I'm
All right,
just
who-
like I'm in a weird
Okay.
place now.
Who-
I'm reeling over here.
If we had Smurfs versus My Little Pony,
No.
who would
The
win?
question is Smurfs versus Snorks. You got the question fucking wrong.
Who would win in a battle? Well, I guess it would be if they were underwater. The Snorks would have pretty short conversation.
Smurfs
Let's
have
go
a
back.
fucking wizard.
Let's go-
Snorks don't. The end of story.
College World Series. Let's go to that for just a moment. Let's
So
Talk about Megan
clear
Fox.
the palate.